Hold on a second. So Scott Witherspoon talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Scott, who grew up in Pittsburgh, right? And remembers from what age the Steelers? When was your first recollection?
So I remember listening to the Steelers on the radio and then watching them on local TV.
What year we talking?
Oh, back in the 60s, and it was a terrible team. I saw them play at Pitt Stadium against Cleveland Browns. This was before Three Rivers Stadium was built.
Right.
And
Jimmy Brown was who was playing for Cleveland at the time? Was
Cleveland Browns. That was probably like 1969. Chuck Noll's first year. Joe Green, the first round draft pick for the Steelers. But the Steelers were terrible. They won one game that year.
Right.
I think they lost to Cleveland actually that day, but one game, and that was the start though of building the Steelers franchise in the 70s.
When did Bradshaw come?
Bradshaw came the following year.
Oh, so that was the beginning.
Louisiana State.
Okay. Yeah. And then they put that great defense together.
And they put together the Steel Curtain and great linebacking core, Lambert, Ham, Andy Russell.
Yeah.
Great secondary. So many of those guys are in a Hall of Fame today, probably more so than any team in football.
Yeah, Franco Harris.
Franco Harris in the backfield. Rocky Blyer, great story from the Vietnam War veteran.
Who were the receivers?
Well, he had Lynn Swan and John Stallworth, and they were equally as good.
And the linemen were amazing.
Oh, the whole team was just offensive linemen were just awesome. Mike Webster, the center, and just a great football team.
How many Super Bowls did they win?
Well, they've won 6. They've been to 8, but they won 4 of them in the 70s with Bradshaw.
With that team,
and 2 of them were, 2 sets of those back to back.
Right, which was amazing.
Yeah.
So what do you think now, today, 2018, we're now... What's your view of Pittsburgh and, the whole NFL in general, given your 40 years of watching sports?
Well, it's interesting. The NFL last year really took a ding with the whole national anthem and the kneeling. And if you look at the Pittsburgh team, they've got Villanueva playing on the offensive line. He's an Army Ranger, and people he commands respect from people, not only because he's huge and dominates defensive linemen, but I think because of his time served for his country. And there's something there about the ethic, the work ethic that transcends from his military time to a great team in a great city like Pittsburgh, and I think the team responds to that. So you don't really see those antics with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, so tell me about the Rooneys and how they've dealt with certain personnel over the years.
Yeah, well, the Rooneys, this is a team sport, and I think they clearly make commitments, long-term commitments. If you look at the current coach, Mike Tomlin, he's the 3rd coach since 1969 when Chuck Noll was hired. Chuck Noll, of course, won 4 Super Bowls. Yeah. Bill Cowher won 1 Super Bowl, appeared in 2, and Mike Tomlin has won 1 Super Bowl and appeared in 2. So the Rooney family makes long-term commitments. Also, they've got Mike Tomlin is a black coach. The Rooney Rule in the NFL is trying to encourage other teams to hire more black coaches in the ranks. And then if you flip over to the players' side, they expect certainly hard work and performance and loyalty. And they don't really put up with antics. There have been a number of players who were superstars and MVPs in games and big games who've been traded after some antics with the Steelers. So the Rooney family tends to remind everybody this is a team sport, and we expect you to perform honorably with your teammates. And if not, you're probably not there for the long term.
Has the city obviously benefited tremendously from the Steelers? I mean, but they've also made a ton of money from this. I mean,
economically, Heinz Field is sold out every game. Has been for the last 30 years. There's probably a 25 or 30 year waiting list for tickets.
Wow.
Game day is like something you've never seen in any city in sports.
Why? What makes it so different than other places?
The atmosphere. The fans are just so rabid and supportive of their team. If the weather's nice, there's tailgating parties lined up on the rivers. People come by boat and park, 5 or 6 deep. And the tailgate parties that go on before the game and after the game, and just fan support. Win or lose, people are behind their team, and they love the Pittsburgh Steelers. And economically, there's no doubt with building Heinz Field a number of years ago, a new stadium. The Pirates built PNC Park. The Penguins built a brand new arena. Replaced the Civic Arena. So 3 brand new sports stadiums over the last 2 decades in the city definitely drive the sports enthusiasm.
What are the main drivers to the economy of Pittsburgh? What have been 10, 20, 30 years ago and today?
Yeah, I think the biggest driver was the transformation from an industrial city all the way up through the 80s to a city that at one point was the 3rd largest headquarters for Fortune 500 companies.
For example?
Gulf Oil, Westinghouse, U.S. Steel, Mellon Bank, PNC Bank, all Pittsburgh-based companies. And I think also the shift to technology. Amazon has a big presence there, Google, and the work being done by the University of Pittsburgh, Carnegie Mellon. David Tepper, who runs one of the largest hedge funds in the world, is a graduate of Pitt. A master's from Carnegie Mellon. They have the David Tepper School at Carnegie Mellon. I think the investment in technology and keeping a lot of that younger talent in the city is just paying huge dividends for
University
the city.
of Pittsburgh Medical Center is one of the top
One
places,
of the top
in,
places
the
in the world. Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
So that's an example of...
And yeah, they've grown and they are always on the cutting edge of research. If you go back in early history in Pittsburgh, the polio disease was cured by Jonas Salk, who did his work at the University of
Really, I
Pittsburgh.
did not know that.